Hola, Raza. So today I started something that I had already introduced last week, but I really went deeper into the lesson today. And I was able to implement a lesson addressing Black History Month. And a lot of my students don't understand at first, and they question why I'm talking about Black History Month so much and why I'm acknowledging that. And I do tell them that it has a lot to do with the language. And I introduce to them the word Afro-Latino. And so I do tell them that there are experiences that deepen the historical connection between Africa, Spain, and Latin America. So I address the diversity in the Latino world. And so it's interesting to me to see that many of the students do not realize that America has a significant African influence, especially in the countries like Cuba, the Dominican Republica, Puerto Rico, Colombia, Venezuela, and Brazil. And that they also have to understand that Latino is not a race, but an ethnic identity that includes Black, Indigenous, and mixed race people. So using the term Afro-Latino, Afro-Caribbean, Afro-descent is to highlight the different identities with the ethnic groups, right? And the students are just mind blown. They have no idea. And it is so disheartening to me to see that the students that I'm introducing this to are 6th grade and up, to my 7th and 8th graders, and they find it so interesting. And I do tell them that there is a continent that has a country that is actually a Spanish speaking country, and you hardly ever hear about it, which is Equatorial Guinea, right, in Africa. So I just wanted to share that, how students are not knowledgeable about the history, and explaining how millions of Africans, Black slaves were forcibly brought into Latin America through the transatlantic slave trade, and that their descendants shaped the region's culture, language, music, and traditions. I just also want to be able to be part of that contribution of expanding knowledge and just explaining that Spanish has a lot of influence in the world. Unfortunately, it's not in a good way, but to show how the African languages and traditions influence Spanish dialects, food, dance, like salsa, merengue, cumbia, and some of the religious practices. And also some of our singers, such as Celia Cruz, who is considered Queen of Salsa, Roberto Clemente from Puerto Rico, who was a baseball player and activist, Gaspar Yanga, who was actually from Mexico, who led the first successful slave revolt in the Americas, and then Vicente Guerrero, who also is from Mexico, who is Afro-Mexican, who was a president who abolished slavery. And this is stuff that needs to be exposed and shown and talked about to our students, because we have been so shut down and so silenced that it's not even okay. And so my defense is I am teaching what they need to know, and it is covering cultura, culture. It is covering familia, families, bloodlines, right? And I'm speaking truth. So if I get in trouble for speaking the truth, then so be it. It is part of life, and we need to educate our children. And they need to know and learn how to be better to one another, because they are the future. So what are your thoughts?